Let's break down the Portland Trailblazers. This is a franchise that is really at crossroads, I think, at this point of their franchise life, effectively. They've got a superstar all NBA player in Dame Lillard, and they got a bunch of vets and a bunch of sort of really unproven young guys that sort of, have talent, but we've really yet to see it. And obviously last year or this season, I guess if you want to call it last season, I guess effectively their season's done. They didn't make the playoffs and they probably really underachieved. And was that because of Lillard's injuries? Probably a big part, ultimately. Was it because that they don't have the right makeup of a team? And I'm gonna say, regardless which one it is, ultimately, I think it's time to move on from Lillard. I think Lillard should be traded. I think he should be made available. I think I know he says he wants to be retire in Portland and spend 20 years there, like some of those notable names, out there like Dirk and Kobe and so on and so forth. But as a Blazers franchise here, I don't think you're gonna get to the promised land with him. That's the reality. Okay, you've tried for so many years. You got to a Western Conference final, and you it hasn't happened. And he's not going to get any younger. He's peaking now, but he's not going to peak forever. Yeah, is this a 1 year peak? Will he string together another year where he averages 30 points a game? Maybe. Okay, he's also injury prone. That's the point. And ultimately, you're probably doing him a favor by sending him somewhere else. He doesn't necessarily realize that, and he'll say it wasn't my choice. I wanted to stay forever. That's the right conversation to come from a player's mouth. Okay, but you go somewhere else, and if you can then win there, I think that helps Dame really cement his legacy as a all-time great guard. All right, but he needs a ring, and it's not going to help him at Portland. Okay, so I'm saying trade Lillard. And at the same time, the second thing that happens here for the Blazers is that they start to see the young talent that they have because they've been overshadowed by Lillard for several years now. Anthony Simons is the first one that sort of comes to mind. The kid can play. Yeah, when Lillard sits out and CJ sat out and was traded, I think the year before, he was averaging like 20 points and like 6, 7 assists. Okay. But then Lillard comes back, he gets 30 shots a game and has the ball in his hands. I don't know how much. Okay. And Anthony Simmons had a down year. And there's other talent there that they need to evaluate what they have. And I guess you talked about the Hornets rebuilding, obviously, and trading around everyone, rebuilding, going back to that sort of phase. And I'm saying that the Portland Trailblazers need to take that sort of step, all right, and rebuild. Third pick of the draft, obviously, they're gonna grab probably not Scoot Henderson as much as they'd like. I think they're looking at one of the Thompson twins. Okay, and that's a good starting block. Okay, potentially. And obviously there's a trade here though. So here's the flip side here. Okay, let's say you hate this advice, okay, and you're gonna go, nah, we're gonna win here. We can this team can still go all the way and take us to the finals. We're gonna still focus on Dame Lillard here. What's a trade that makes us better? Yeah, that's the key. Yeah, what's a trade that makes us better? Okay, all right. So I'm saying put Jeremy Grant and Joseph Nurkic on the trade block here, and it matches up for salaries. All right, why not bring in Clay? All right, bring in Clay Thompson. You got Clay Thompson, Dame Lillard. You got shoot the lights out. If they can stay healthy, let's see what can happen here. All right, they match up. Clay needs a new change of scenery potentially. Will the Warriors move him? I don't know. Probably not. Okay, but hey, that's my fantasy trade. What do you reckon?
I'm just trying to I'm just trying to play it back from my head. Did you not spend a very solid period of time there talking about how Dame probably needs to go, and then you swerved me right at the end by keeping Dame and trading for Klay Thompson? Is that
I'm
what happened?
no, no. Let me explain. Okay, the trade has to make your team better. Okay, so that's the key. You're looking to make trades to make your team better now. Okay, because every team could go into win now mode. Yeah, even if you're Spurs, you can go into win now mode. Who can I trade for to win now? Okay, because I looked at some other trades for the Portland Blazers that probably make more sense. For example, they could trade for expiring contracts. Okay, they could trade for draft picks, but that doesn't help them win now. All right, I'm saying what's a player that you can trade for, or each team can trade for, that's probably not realistic, that's the whole reality, that can help them win now?
So you're not trading Dame despite the fact that you spent a good portion of time saying you should trade Dame. I'm just trying to clarify that bit.
I'm saying this is what they should do, but here's a trade. If they don't want to do that, then go trade for Klay Thompson. I imagine this is the sort of conversation you would have in a front office. Okay, so you're sort of going, okay, we could on one side of the whiteboard, we could trade Dame. Yeah, we're going to trade Dame. We're going to trade all our vets. We're going to look for draft picks. What are some young talent we identify and stuff like that. On the other side of the board, we say we don't trade Dame. All right. And we're going to do what can we do to build around Dame? We still believe that Dame Lillard can lead a team to the finals and win a championship. What can we bring in with what assets we have and the salaries that we have and so on and so forth. So there's always two sides of a picture. And I think I've explored both sides here.
Right. Even though the job is to pick three things that a team should do. All right. I feel like we're three teams in and you've already really undone the entire philosophy of what
Let's
we're
hear what
doing
you
here.
got to say, dude. What
Um,
are you going to say?
yeah, it's fair. I like it. I'm glad that we still have 27 more of these to go and we can never seem to agree. All right. So you're totally okay. Here's the thing. I think we're both in agreement. The Blazers are stuck, right? So even though we want to get rid of Dame and we want him to have a chance somewhere else and really let Portland hit the reset button, that contract is so big that, we saw Rudy Gobert move, right? So clearly anything is possible. But Dame is 50 million a year. I think 3 more years or 4 more years on that contract, and has now begun the injury process. So it's a hard pitch for another team to say, please give me Damian Lillard. We know what he's capable of. He had a very good season despite the injuries, but it's a hard pitch to say, I'll take Damian Lillard off your hands and I'll give you my entire bench and future. So it's a tricky one. So I was stuck. I My three options, I feel like you draft Brandon Miller, right? Assuming that he falls to third, because there is this debate about Scoot and Brandon Miller being there. But you get a versatile wing, right? You're going to get a wing that can play make, hit some shots, and clearly that's always been a bit of a weak spot for Portland. They've never really had a good wing player to go alongside Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum when he was there, respectively. Um, I know this sounds odd. I would re-sign Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish does not have enough capital to demand a big contract, but there's potential there. And that again kind of shores up your wing spot. And I would re-sign Thibault. I feel like the league wants to give up on Thibault really quickly, but we know that defensively he's got like elite level talent, and he just needs to up an offensive level from absolutely terrible to poor to average at best. Again, really cementing that wing side. But I'm just banking on that because this is sincerely what I think. I think the Blazers will continue to trot along between this 8 to 15 mark, depending on how solid Dame Lillard is, health wise and ability wise. They aren't going to win a championship. I agree with you. They aren't a serious contender in the next 3 to 5 years. I also agree with you. So, what are they going to do to make their team better? They're going to build that young core around them, right? So, Cam Reddish, young. Brandon Miller, young. Anthony Simons, young. All right, Thibault, young. They continue to build this young core with this weird old vet, you know, like,
So,
think of a
so,
pickup
so,
game,
so
right?
effectively you're
Where he's the
saying,
guy
dude,
that's not allowed to go off the court because he seizes up.
you're effectively saying do nothing. Do the same thing and run it back again with
No, no, no.
with a
I'm
draft
not
pick,
saying
with a
do
draft
nothing.
pick.
I'm saying they're almost rebuilding now. They're already in the rebuild mode, but we're going to let Dame Lillard run out there and do it. It's kind of like Dame Lillard's on a farewell tour, but the tour's going to go for like another 5 years.
Oh, ouch.
Like,
I'd hate to be a Blazers fan right now, right?
what do you want me to say, Blazers fans? What do you want me to say? What if you like? What do we do? Who do we trade? Who do we trade Dame for? The only logical candidate off the top of my head is Steph Curry, who also matches that kind of salary number, or Rudy Gobert, right? And then obviously the next superstar to sign it. Do we want to go Zion? Do we want to do the whole like let's take a gamble on Zion, right? Because he just signed a massive $200 million contract. It Nothing good can come out of this, right? And you're also tied up with money with Nurkic, right? So you reference that, like, oh, you trade Nurkic. Like, yeah, he's at like 20 million a year. That is not a good contract for a center who, like, what is he? Is he like a Steven Adams esque center? Like he's a bit of a bruiser and he does that. Like, what does he do? There's a reason why Denver got off him and haven't really looked back, right? And then who was the other player you mentioned? Like, what? Jeremy
Jeremy
Grant.
Grant.
Jeremy Grant Jeremy Grant went from being able to win an NBA championship with the Nuggets if he just held the course to like becoming the alpha scorer in Detroit to now basically like running his contract out in Portland. Like, there's just nothing. There's a reason why Portland is in this position. So no, I don't have anything positive to say. Keep building a young talent around Dame. Let Dame have 30 points a game. Give him like a real big clap. Be like, good job, buddy, good job. As I was trying to do the analogy before, he's like that old guy at the pickup game. Like, he actually just isn't allowed to leave the court because if he does, he's going to seize up. But he's also the one that paid for the court, so we kind of just have to let him play with us all the time. So that's Dame Lillard at this point, right? He's the guy that's going to bomb threes. He's not always going to run back on D, but you know what? Like, he's the one that organizes the game and he paid for the court. So we're cool with him. We'll run with him. We don't win a lot, but you know, sometimes he gets hot and we win a game and we get to stay on the court. And that's Portland for you. So I'm good. I think I've said my piece if I've been coherent.
This is Two Guys with Spare Time. I'm Fowles, this is Nick. You're probably a basketball fan like us, so hopefully you can throw us an assist and giving our video a like and subscribing to our channel.
And if you got thoughts, feelings, or even some suggestions, please put them down in the comment section below. And thank you for using your spare time to watch us in our spare time.